Okay, everyone wants to stay informed, but who has the time to read everything, right? You need the important stuff fast.
Exactly. It's easy to get swamped.
So today we're going to give you a focused look, drawing straight from the 7th issue of Alperen's Thinking in Public newsletter.
Yeah, we've gone through this latest one, and it's packed. It covers quite a range, actually, things like AI making podcasts, some urgent automation fixes, and even what the big players like Y Combinator and Google are focusing on.
Think of this as your shortcut to the highlights from that issue.
Right. Our aim is just to pull out the most interesting bits, the things that seem really relevant, and talk through what they might actually mean.
Okay, let's start with something that, honestly, sounds a bit sci-fi. A whole podcast created by AI. Apparently, for some previous newsletters, they actually generated an entire audio show, AI voices,
Yeah.
talking about the newsletter content.
And the results were, surprisingly, pretty natural sounding, according to the write-up.
That's the kicker. I thought AI voices still sounded, well, robotic.
Well, they often did, and the newsletter points this out traditionally. Making AI audio sound truly human was quite involved. You'd use tools, something like 11 Labs maybe,
Right.
and you'd have to manually add pauses, filler words like or maybe even simulate people interrupting each other slightly. It took planning, detailed scripting.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of work.
It was. But now this issue talks about a newer, simpler way using a Google tool called Notebook LM.
Notebook LM. I think I've heard of it. Isn't it like a smart notes app?
Sort of, but it's more than just notes. You can feed it all kinds of things, PDFs, audio clips, websites, YouTube links, and then you can kind of chat with your content, ask it questions, get summaries.
Okay, interesting. So it helps you interact with information you've saved.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It can generate study guides, FAQs, summaries from your uploads, but the really new thing they highlighted is this podcast generation feature.
How does that work then?
Apparently, you just upload your source material, like the newsletter text itself, and, well, click a button.
Just click a button. Seriously.
Seems like it. You can guide it a bit, tell it which parts are key, how long you want the podcast to be.
Like an AI audio editor?
Kind of, yeah. And it's not just English. It can output in other languages, too. They even mention a beta feature for English, an interactive mode, where you can apparently join the AI hosts.
Join them. Okay, that is weird. What do you think about that? AI hosts.
It definitely makes you think, doesn't it? I mean, it's efficient for getting information out quickly, but
Sure.
what about the human connection, the personality, the unexpected thoughts people bring to a conversation?
That's true. Will we value real human voices more if AI takes over the basic stuff?
Could be. It's an interesting question.
Okay, let's switch gears to something very practical, almost urgent. The newsletter flags an issue with formerly Twitter and Make.com automations.
Ah, yes. This is important. Those integrations are set to stop working tomorrow, May 30th.
Tomorrow. Wow, okay. So why?
It's down to changes in X's API access. This was actually mentioned back in issue 4, so it's been coming, but the deadline is now really here.
So if you use Make.com to automatically post to X or do other things.
Those automations are just going to break, stop working completely, which could be a real headache for people relying on them.
Okay, panic stations? Or is there a fix?
Thankfully, yes. The newsletter suggests a pretty simple solution using Buffer.
Buffer, the social media scheduling tool.
That's the one. Apparently, connecting your X account to Buffer is much easier now than dealing directly with X's API keys in Make.com was.
So how does it work?
It sounds straightforward. You basically set up a Buffer account, link your X account to it through Buffer's interface, which is designed to be user-friendly. Then, in your Make.com scenario, instead of the old X module, you use Buffer's Create a Status Update module and just connect it to that Buffer account.
Okay, so you automate through Buffer instead of directly to X.
Exactly. It seems like a solid workaround, especially given the tight deadline. No deep tech skills needed, apparently.
Good to know there's a plan B. All right, let's move on again. The newsletter talks a lot about smart AI agents. This feels like a step beyond just chatbots, right?
Yep, definitely. We're moving from AI answering questions to AI actually doing things for us, handling whole tasks.
And it's becoming more accessible.
That's the key point highlighted. They mention a platform called Agent.ai, which is specifically a no-code platform.
No code, meaning anyone can use it.
Pretty much. You don't need to be a programmer. And there are apparently hundreds of pre-built agents ready to go, or you can build your own without writing code.
Okay, like what kind of agents? What can they do?
The newsletter gives some really concrete examples. There's one for company research pulls details on finances, investments, web traffic, competitors.
Oh, wow. That's useful.
Right. Then there's an ICP builder, helps you define your ideal customer profile. A video script generator for different types of videos, even a web page copy editor to make your writing clearer.
A copy editor agent. Interesting.
And one I thought was particularly neat, a LinkedIn profile analyzer. Tells you strengths, weaknesses, suggests improvements based on trends.
Okay, I can see people using that immediately.
For sure. And these are just examples. They mention broader categories, too. Agents for content creation, customer research, sales tasks, social media stuff.
So the idea is, in the future, we'll just delegate tasks to these agents.
That seems to be the direction, yeah. Let the agents handle the routine, maybe even complex but definable tasks, freeing us up for strategy, creativity, oversight. It really could change workflows.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what a typical workday might look like soon. Okay, broadening the view now, global startup trends. The newsletter touches on Startup Link's 2025 report. What's the picture?
It's quite dynamic, actually. Geographically, the Asia-Pacific region is showing the fastest growth in its startup ecosystem, up 27.4%.
Wow, that's significant.
It is. Europe's also strong at 26.2%, and the Middle East and Africa region at 24.9%. North America, interestingly, has the slowest growth of those main areas at 15.7%.
So a shift away from North American dominance, maybe.
It could suggest a bit of a rebalancing, yeah. And some smaller regions are really booming. Central Asia saw 43.3% growth. East Asia and the Middle East also posting big numbers.
Anywhere lagging.
The Caribbean actually showed negative growth, down 2.4%, so real regional differences.
What about industries? Where's the action?
Food tech is leading the pack, huge growth at 46.1%. Hardware and IoT is also way up there, 45.4%, and energy and environment growing fast too, over 40%.
Makes sense with current global priorities.
Right.
Any sector struggling?
Yeah, EdTech actually saw a decline, about -2.3%, and transportation was almost flat, just 0.9% growth.
EdTech declining. That's surprising after the pandemic boom.
It is, maybe a market correction or shift in focus. But yeah, the takeaway is strong growth in Asia and Europe, especially in food, hardware, and energy startups. EdTech in the Caribbean facing some headwinds.
Fascinating snapshot. Okay, staying with startups, the newsletter also looks at what Y Combinator is looking for in 2025. Their request for startups list is always influential.
Absolutely. It's a good signal of where a major player sees big potential. And one of the top things this year is full-stack AI companies.
Full-stack AI, what does that mean exactly?
The idea is building entire businesses where AI isn't just a tool, but it's woven into everything they do, all processes. The example they give is like an entire law firm powered by AI from the ground up.
Whoa, okay, that's ambitious. What else is on their list?
Dev tools for AI agents. So tools to make building and managing these agents we just talked about easier and faster. Think no-code platforms, low-code tools, APIs, frameworks for agent development.
Makes sense. If agents are the future, you need tools to build them.
Right. Then there's voice AI. They're looking for really realistic, real-time voice assistants. Think advanced customer support bots or phone systems that sound completely human.
We're getting closer to that, aren't we?
Seems like it. Also, browser and computer automation. AI agents that can actually use a computer like a person, navigate websites, use apps, fill forms, grab data.
Automating digital tasks.
Exactly. And AI personal tutor for everyone. Highly adaptive, personalized AI tutors, maybe using visuals, tailored to each student's needs.
The dream of personalized education, powered by AI.
Kind of. They also list a secure AI app store, basically, a trusted place to find and use AI tools where you know your data is handled safely.
That feels necessary with all the new tools popping up.
Definitely. And finally, AI for scientific advancement. Using AI, especially large language models, to accelerate research, analyze data, find patterns in science, making discovery faster and cheaper.
So a really wide range of AI-focused opportunities.
Yeah, it covers infrastructure, applications, safety, and even fundamental research. And the newsletter notes YC is still taking late applications, so it's very current info for founders.
Good tip. Okay, last big section covered in the newsletter. The key stuff from Google I/O 2025. Always a big event for tech watchers.
For sure. Google sets a lot of trends, and the newsletter suggests maybe the biggest news was VO3.
VO3, that's their video generation AI.
Right, text to video. And this version seems like a major step up. The claim is much better syncing of the visuals, the sound, even the speech, like lip syncing, making the generated videos feel way less clunky or artificial.
Got an example?
The newsletter mentioned prompts like spies exchanging info in a tense alley or diced onions sizzling in a pan, and apparently the results were convincingly realistic. Sound, visuals, flow, all improved.
Wow. AI video was moving fast.
Yeah.
What else stood out from I/O?
AI mode in search got a lot of attention. This involves using your phone's camera for search, point it at something, and get instant answers, asking much more complex, multi-part questions, even real-time queries using the camera with something called Astra, plus new shopping features integrated.
So search is becoming more visual and conversational.
Seems that way, though they caution some of this is still in testing and might be region-locked for now.
Standard Google rollout, then.
Pretty much. There's also deep research where you can upload your own PDFs or images and have AI summarize them, pull out tables, generate visuals from them. That sounds incredibly useful for research or work.
Definitely. Like an AI research assistant for your own documents.
Yeah. And then there's Agent Mo. This is still experimental, but it's that idea of AI autonomously completing goals for you. Starting in the Gemini app, maybe for tasks like planning a trip, and also being tested within AI mode for search. Future possibilities mentioned include booking tickets or restaurants, but that's US testing for now.
So Google is also leaning into the AI agent concept.
Very much so. And the Gemini app itself is getting upgrades, camera input, screen sharing, handling PDFs and images, better integration with other Google apps, more personalization.
It's becoming more of a central AI hub.
Looks like it. They also announced Flow, an AI filmmaking tool. Give it text. It helps create scenes, characters, dialogue, and Imagen 4, their new image generation model. Sharper, better with text and images, higher resolution, and a faster version coming.
Always iterating on the image generation.
Always. And finally, the newsletter mentions updates around Android XR and smart glasses, things like real-time translation glasses, photo message features on glasses, and a new XR headset project with Samsung called Project Muhan. Mostly in testing still, but shows their direction.
Plus other bits like translation tech, coding tools, open source models, new AI plans.
Yeah, it was a dense event. Lots announced.
Whew. Okay, that really was a whirlwind tour through just one issue of that newsletter. It covered a lot of ground.
It really did. From AI making content to fixing automations, the rise of agents, startup shifts, and then all the Google news. It's a lot.
It definitely highlights how quickly things are moving in tech right now. AI podcasts, agents doing tasks, global startup scene shifting, Google pushing the AI boundaries everywhere.
Yeah, this issue really did capture that acceleration. It shows the value of having someone curate and connect these dots, I think.
Absolutely. So thinking about all this, the AI creation, the automation, the agents, the big tech moves, it leads to a final thought for you listening. How do you see these trends changing the way you learn, the way you work, how you interact with technology day to day in the near future?
Yeah, it's not just abstract tech news anymore, is it? It feels like it's starting to touch everything. Definitely something to mull over.